was gonna say, you're probably good too, but. Is that it? You guys all have a chance to sign it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Kristen's got us set up, we're good to go.
Okay,
And we have two watching online.
okay. All right, hi everybody. Thanks for bearing with me there. This is the second public meeting for the 28th and Wildwood Reconstruction Project. So you can see on the screen there, that's our project area we're looking at. Encompassed in the red box there is the overall project area that will be constructed over the next 4 to 5 years. What's highlighted in gray there is what's being done this year. I apologize. My name is Brian Ritchie. If you weren't here for the first one, I will be the project manager for this project. I am with the BPW. Right here is Brian White. He is with the City of Holland Transportation Department. Also back in the back corner there is Holland Engineering. Doug Hughes, he's our inspector for this project, so you'll see him out there just about every day. See if this works here. There we go. Project goals, so I won't spend too much time on this. Again, this is a lot of a repeat of the first public meeting, just kind of going over what the project is, why we're doing it, and then we'll hopefully leave more time for questions. So the main driver of this project is a water main replacement. So we've had several issues in this area with water main breaks, as I'm sure you're aware. Hence why this project is happening. So with the water main replacement, we're also replacing water services. Some of you may have received water service agreements to replace your galvanized services. That's what that is for. And then also recently added, this is kind of new from the first meeting, we have decided to go ahead and replace the sanitary laterals that are of the Orangeburg material. The reason being, this material is known to be very brittle, will fall apart easily, collapse on you. If you have one of those and you've had to replace one ready, you're probably aware of that. But that's why we're going ahead and replacing just the portion within the roadway, and I'll get into more of the details on that here in a couple slides. Basically, it's just to kind of get ahead of it as best we can so we're not dealing with those as we drag along with the water main replacement. Additionally, there will be some storm sewer improvements, so that'll be some lining, some rerouting of larger storm sewer, so on and so forth. And then as with any construction project, you'll get some new pavement, some sidewalk improvements, ramps, and yeah, that's about it. So some of the project considerations, so I'll go to the next slide. The general schedule for this project is starting second week of June, so right after school is out. That Monday, June 12th is when things are going to be ramping up, and then the project will be officially completed at the end of October, or that's when it's planned to be anyway. So you're looking at basically all summer into September, hopefully wrapping things up around October there. So the only closures with this project, outside of obviously right in front of your homes, is when they get into the Ottawa and 28th intersection, as well as Van Raalte 28th intersection. So when they're doing one, they will have, it is required of them, when I say them, the contractor, to leave the other intersection open, and that'll be your detour route. The plan is to only have those shut down for a short period of time, like less than a day or two, so that it's not affecting bus traffic. Well, bus traffic isn't going to be as much of a consideration, but it's a main travel way, we know, and we're aware of that. Van Raalte and both Ottawa are, so just making sure we're accommodating that. Trash pickup, so plan to have that as normal, bringing it to the end of the road there, or to the end of your driveway there, and we'll work with the trash pickup to make sure that your trash gets picked up. And the same with your mail. Obviously, where there's situations that for whatever reason they can't get there, let us know. Doug, somebody at the contractor staff will help you get it to the trash truck and back to your end of your driveway, so that you're not having disruption to that. Tree removals and replacements. So there is some tree removal for this project, not a ton. There would be kind of the understanding, anything obviously in the cities right away there between the sidewalk and the road, if there are some trees that need to come out because of construction, That's when that would happen. If for some reason there's a tree you really want and you want to preserve it, we'll do our best to make that happen. So let us know that if there's anything you can think of. And vice versa, if there's trees you want removed, let us know. We can work with the contractor on accommodating that as well. The home repair program, if you've lived in the city for a while, you might know what this is about, but it's if you qualify or if you're eligible, the city has a repair program that helps financially for repairs in your home. So a sanitary lateral replacement, internal plumbing, things like that, where this project would be something you would use that for is kind of what that's for. And Tricia has more information on that if you're interested. So, there we go. As I mentioned, the sanitary service lateral replacement. So, we're not doing anything to the sanitary main itself. It's been lined, and it's been that way for a number of years now. But, like I said, where we're replacing laterals is only where there's Orangeburg material. A lot of houses in your area, unfortunately, had Orangeburg replacement because of when the time frame when it was done. So, there's over 20, I think, just with this phase, and as we move along, there's going to be even more. But basically, what we're planning to do is replace from the main, wherever it's at in front of your house, all the way to your property line, which is the back of sidewalk. That would be at no cost to you, the homeowner, and as completely done as part of this project. If you want to replace the remainder of that from your sidewalk all the way into your home, that would be at your cost. I would highly recommend, if you have plans to replace it now or in the near future, that you take advantage of this time to do it, just because contractor, plumbers, everybody's already on site. You're not going to find a better deal to do it in terms of financially, and really impact on you too, because if you have a Orangeburg lateral, there's chances are you're probably going to be getting a galvanized service replacement as well, which is all included as part of this project. Yes, question?
How do we know if we should do that?
As far as the replacement the rest of the way?
Yeah.
I would say if you're considering it and you want to know the condition of your lateral, we did actually televise them. And if you leave me your name and address, I can tell you what the condition is that we found. Or if you've had it cleaned or looked at in the last 5 years and you know the condition of it, chances are, if your sewage is, if you're not having any backups, you should be okay theoretically. But until you really get in there and look at things, it's really hard to say. So I have video and reports of everyone's lateral actually, so we can tell you, yeah, yours actually looks okay, or yeah, you might want to consider doing it. So just let me know. So, kind of to that point, if you do plan to replace it or you're considering it, I highly recommend you reach out, get a couple quotes from local plumbers. I can't make any recommendations, but there are several local plumbers that we work with and do a good job. And they'll give you a price to do that. And when you get those quotes, just let them know the circumstances that this is a project that the city is actually paying to replace from the main to the sidewalk. And what you can do is, if it works out where they do the whole thing, and then they kind of itemize it where we pay for the portion in our in the right of way, and then you pay the remainder of it, we can do that. But the contractor, the general contractor for this project is Skipper's Excavating. They're planning to do the portion in the roadway. So it would be whoever you select as your plumber, coordinate with Skipper's Excavating, and Doug and myself and our staff, and we will make sure that hopefully we can do it all in one shot, and that way there's no disruption to the service, or there's not more than one disruption, I should say. Obviously there'll be some when they have to dig it up, but yeah.
If we decide we don't want to do it, or you give us a good report,
Yes.
then the work stops at the curb.
Correct. The work stops at the sidewalk, basically. So in that case, they would just connect to your existing and kind of go on from there. And then obviously all the restoration work with that is included in the project.
Will Skippers give us a quote?
Skippers is trying to stay away from the private side just because they got a lot more on their plate and a schedule to meet. So but who's doing their internal plumbing and the water service work, I'm sure they would gladly give you a quote. And I can say that is Macatawa Plumbing. Again, I would get a couple quotes just to check, but Macatawa Plumbing is who will be doing the water service work.
Because you said they're gonna be on site anyway.
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
If the two sides of the sewer project aren't done at the same time, they're done at separate times, what's the risk of the first part of it not tying in well to a damage or collapse or anything?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a risk you run with that, but,
What do they do?
well, so as part of that service agreement, if you read closely, we need to be able to tie on to existing pipe that has condition that's going to hold. They're not just going to tie it onto a piece of pipe that's already collapsed. I mean, I wouldn't let them do that. Doug wouldn't let them do that. Obviously that's not fair to you. So they would just cut it back a little bit further technically on your property. That's why we're asking for your agreement to say, hey, if that is the case, can we cut it back another 3 feet, which is on your property, to tie into better pipe? So that's how we would handle that. We got to draw a line somewhere. Any other questions on that? I know that's new information, so I wanted to kind of leave it open there.
When you do it at two different times, the second half of it, any risk in tying off to that, finding and tying off to that?
Yeah, as far as if you were digging back into it to open it back up,
Again,
honestly, not really. I mean, especially because it's out of the roadway, you're not having to dig into the road. You're just basically redigging the same hole and then running it from there, into your house, or vice versa. They'd probably run it out of your house, so they know what kind of fall they have to get to that point. So, yeah.
I think pipe type's important, right? If you know you've got the Orangeburg pipe, just has a history, it's like basically a tar paper pipe.
Yeah.
So I would not put a whole lot of life expectancy into an Orangeburg pipe.
No. And again, if you're just on the fence of whether we should do it or not, let me know and I can let you know what we found in terms of what your condition is. But I will say I have sent out all the letters to those who have Orangeburg that we confirmed have Orangeburg. So that would mean in some cases you may have like a variety of clay in Orangeburg just depending on how they did it. But yes.
there are loads of YouTube videos online about Orangeburg pipe, if you're interested.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to dig up some trash.
Yeah, and that's they sometimes call it cardboard. Okay, so I kind of briefly touched on ownership of it, but I just kind of want to make sure everyone's aware, and maybe you already are, but the sanitary lateral is different from the water service in terms of what you own and what the city owns, BPW owns. What's circled in red there is the portion that we're replacing with this project, if it is Orangeburg. But the entire portion from the main all the way to your house is owned by you, the homeowner. So as part of this project, whatever is replaced will be covered under a 1-year warranty, much like the water service, covered under 1-year warranty, but it is still at your ownership, which is why we're having you sign this agreement. And that's the way it's been for years, in terms of how that ownership works. Any more questions on the sanitary service before I move on to water? Anything from the audience?
Let me check.
I just don't want to skip over that.
We do not.
Okay, I'll move on. All right, water service placement. So again, a lot of this is a repeat from the first meeting. Similar to what I kind of just talked about with sanitary service, the difference being this is a mandated thing by the state where we're replacing the entirety of the water service, assuming it is all galvanized, that we have record of it being galvanized. So this will go from the main all the way into your house. And as I mentioned, Macatawa Plumbing is the plumber that's doing this work. They're just the subcontractor to the selected Skipper's Excavating, who's the general contractor. So they're going to be the ones that are having to get into your homes to view where your service is at, where it's coming in the house, condition of things, how the logistics kind of work out. So that's why you have a water service agreement as well, It's to allow us into your home, or the contractor, inspector, whoever it may be, to look at where it's going to come in, and where it makes the most sense to kind of tie things back together once they get the new service in there. So if you have a water service agreement letter and you haven't signed it yet, please do so, because without your authority, we're not able to enter your home or work on anything on the private side of your property. So I highly encourage you to do that if you haven't done so.
Question,
Yeah.
does the Orangeburg replacement on the owner's side fall into the items that could be used, that city program could be used to finance?
Yes. Yep. And I would highly recommend you at least look into that, because that would be a prime example to use it for. Yep.
Do you want Tricia to maybe elaborate on the different options, or no?
What, I guess, yeah, I guess maybe I'm speaking out of turn. I believe that would be a qualified expense.
Absolutely,
Correct. Okay.
yeah. Any plumbing,
Internal plumbing, I mean HVAC, I think there's a lot of things covered in that, so. It's all on the city's website if you're interested, more details on that in there. Okay, so this is kind of that same depiction that I showed of the sanitary service. Spells out again kind of the ownership, where the city, or the BPW, owns from the curb stop actually to the main, and then homeowner owns the rest of that into your house. Why it's different? Well, we need to have a valve to be able to turn off water for whatever reason. So that's just why it's that way. But as I mentioned, the entirety of your water service, assuming your side, when I say your side on the private side of property, is galvanized, you'll be getting a full new water service. For anyone else that's already had it replaced, if you have copper or plastic on your side, you'll still get a new water service up to the curb stop, which will be copper. And again, the 1-year warranty is guaranteed with that after construction. That's just kind of a typical construction warranty for things like this.
Is warranty from Skipper?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So this just kind of shows a plan and profile view of it. It's typically done where they'll bring the service up to the curb stop, or that shutoff valve that's kind of near the sidewalk there, and they'll drill in from there, basically alongside your existing service, and bring it up either through your basement floor or through the basement wall. And that's, again, why the contractor will need access to your home, so they know where they're going, and obviously not going in blind. So that's kind of what that's showing there. So when you see a directional drill aiming at your house, that's what they're doing. I think that's all I have. Sometimes it varies. They'd like to if they can, but yeah, it just kind of depends on how it lines up with where other services are at.
Water, if you're doing water now, you're trying to do the Orangeburg later.
Right.
Run into the fact that you're.
Exactly. Yeah, and there needs to be some separation there, just
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. But yes, that has been done, and it can be done. Any other questions on the services before I move on? Those are kind of the two main things I wanted to touch on. Okay. Good. We're moving faster than I thought. Sprinkling system. So if you have sprinkling systems, please mark the sprinkler heads with flags. Just it lets our contractor know where things are at. You got a couple weeks before they're out there digging things up, but just gives them a notice of, hey, this is where things are at. You're probably already seeing flags out there, the Mystic flags. Please leave those as long as you can if they're not already there. And then if you, for any repairs that need to be done, the contractor will be doing that. Actually, they'll have a subcontractor, landscaping contractor that's doing those. If you have somebody that you want to use specifically, just let us know. If you provide us a quote, we can work with you on that in terms of, you have them do the work and bill us for it, sort of thing. Again, this is just for anything where there's repairs. We can't provide you a new sprinkling system, but we'll repair what is damaged, obviously. Yeah.
But your intent is to restore under underground sprinkling to what it was before.
Correct,
But it's on the strip.
correct. I just realized I should probably repeat the questions for the online audience. The question was, are we restoring what is damaged? And that is yes. There will, if you find something that didn't get fixed, definitely let us know, because that is the contractor's responsibility. Yep. Sump pump connections, if you have existing ones, we'll get those tied back in this is for storm sewer, obviously. If there's new ones that you want to do, let us know. You can work with the contractor on that in terms of bringing it into a new catch basin for whatever reason you may have, putting drain, roof drain, whatever it might be. Just communicate with us out there, Doug, myself, and we have others out there that if you wanted to get a new connection, just let us know. Because otherwise, they're just going to put things back the way it is. So that now would be the time to do it. All right, Brian.
All right, so thank you, Brian Ritchie. I'm Brian White, I'm with the City of Holland Transportation Office. Let's continue on here. Cross sections. So really no changes with regard to the road cross sections. What you have there now is what's going to be going back in. I will say on 28th Street, I think the curb pans right now are covered with asphalt. And I think once that work is done, we're going to put all new curbs, all new drive approaches in there on 28th Street. So, and that'll match in with the remaining areas that already have that. So things will look uniform when we're done. Yeah, proposed cross sections here. Again, no real changes. We've got some storm sewer work that we want to do, and one of it includes rerouting some cross-country storm sewer that was put in when the development originally went in. So we're going to reroute that, put that in along the road right away. Sidewalk improvements, yep, we're going to do some sidewalk improvements. On the left of the screen, that's the old style. On the right of the screen, that's the new style with what we call the truncated domes and the visual for the ADA requirements, the Americans with Disability Act requirements. So those ramps will get more friendly. Project schedule, yep, the 12th. And I know Brian Ritchie covered this. You want to pick that back up? Yep.
So the plan is start June 12th, and I finally did hear back from Skipper's Excavating. They're planning to start on the west side, so basically at Ottawa on 28th Street, and work their way east. And then they would be moving from there north kind of to 27th and Harrison Loop there in front of the school. And then probably Van Raalte, it might be vice versa there, but for sure 28th Street first.
28th Street at the west end?
Correct.
Okay, got it. So right by Ottawa,
Working their way east, yep. And then kind of finishing off Van Raalte between 27th and Wildwood. And then the last two streets would be Harrison between Wildwood and 28th, and then Cleveland. So that's kind of the projected schedule. Things may change. Yeah, question?
Do you put things together as you progress, or do you have to wait until everything's done to put things together?
As far as the water main goes, it's as you progress. As far as in storm sewer, as far as the road goes, it'll be depending on how things work out, because they need to have, it's in the contract that the contractor finishes everything on 28th, intersection of Ottawa 28th and Van Raalte 28th, and then 27th Harrison, also Van Raalte. That all needs to be done before school's back in session, so they have till basically end of August. So that should be paved, at least with a base course, by the time school's back in session. And then Harrison and Cleveland may lag until like October before you see pavement on those. I'm guessing that's how it'll go, but they may move faster, they may move slower, it just depends. Yeah?
Will the project include new curbing and driveway aprons?
28th Street, yes.
28th Street will? Okay.
Not Van Raalte?
Probably not. It depends on where the service work's gonna occur,
Yeah,
but probably not. Depends on whether or not where the service.
where your water service comes in, so it's, if we're tearing into it with the water service or sanitary service, then it would be needing to be replaced. But as far as the entire stretch, it is not planned, no. It's kind of down the road for the schedule, right, in terms of replacement. It's just kind of how it lines up.
I didn't hear that.
It's as far as like the curb improvements is in the city's schedule in terms of whenever that is to
Future work
happen.
on Van Rolte Avenue.
Future work, yes.
How far in the future?
Fair question. So, we're actually working on, yeah, thank you. So, we're putting together, parts of the Van Rolte project for this year and next year that'll get us to 24th Street from the north. And then we look to, possibly in, 25 to be looking at doing that south end of Van Rolte. That'd be the earliest, 2025.
It should be curbs and aprons, you said.
Yeah, more than likely, we would do that as part of a future Van Rolte project.
Are there any assessments to the homeowner on all this?
For the road, no.
No, and there will not be for sewer, because we're just replacing in kind. There's nothing, yes, you're getting a new service, but it's not, increasing anything else.
I can speak to that.
Yeah.
So typically, when there's assessments involved, it involves the construction of an improvement that isn't already there, right? So if there was a shoulder section road that we added curb and gutter to, right, that would be typically would require an assessment. But because there's already curb and gutter there, we're just basically sprucing up what's there, replacing or that. So no, there's no assessments for that.
Yeah. Good question. I think, let me go to my next slide. I think the next one is,
For the next slide.
yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm Brian Ritchie with BPW. Myself and David Cyrus, you'll see out there a lot. And from the city, Brian and Ryan, part of his staff. And then as I mentioned, Doug Hughes, he's our inspector, he'll be out there as well.
If there is questions that come up during the project, we would encourage you to catch Doug first, right? You're going to see him out there every day. You can call us, that's fine. We don't want to discourage that, but we're going to call him. So again, he's really going to be our eyes and ears, and he's going to be there whenever the contractor's there. What do you drive? Do you drive that old white Chevy pickup? You upgraded. Okay, got it. Great. Good. So yeah, catch Doug. Again, if there's, if for some reason you don't have water pressure or, whatever comes up. If nobody picks up your garbage, right? That's a kind of a popular one. Is this a walking route for postal? So yeah, I don't think you'll have too many troubles with the post office. So good.
As we get a little further down the road,
You want it
best
next?
way to keep up with schedule.
As far as schedule goes, if there's any drastic changes, we'll let you know, like probably by form of postcard again.
Yeah.
But
If there's a transition, right, when they wrap up with the school.
yeah,
I would imagine.
yeah, I would say look for that big transition to be once school's back in session. You said you should see things wrapping up kind of right there in the middle of August in terms of 28th, all those roads north of it and Van Rolte, those being done first, and then kind of Harrison, Cleveland work to be probably in kind of that September to October timeframe.
How do we tell a plumber when they're supposed to be there?
How do we tell a plumber when they're supposed to be there? As far as like coordinating the timing of that? Yeah, so I would say just reach out to whoever you want to do the work, get a couple quotes, whatever you want to do there. And I would just inform them of this project. You can tell them it's Skipper's Excavating, and they will need to your plumber will need to coordinate that with Skipper's Excavating. That's going to be the best way to do it. Otherwise,
If you're starting in 2 weeks or whatever,
yeah.
people are probably that much, at least that far out.
Yeah, And we're aware of that, right? So if for some reason Skippers comes through and does the work up to the sidewalk and it's not coordinated to carry it on the rest of the way with, your plumber that you have, it's not the end of the world to have to dig that back up and then them just take it the rest of the way. So, yes, ideally. Well, right. I mean, like if, for example, Macatawa, if they're already out there doing water services, one would think they should have the ability to break off and do sanitary service with it. So, yeah, there's going to be some coordinating on that and how it goes. I can't promise you it's all going to go exactly the way you want it to, but we'll do our best in terms of making sure they have their portion done for you to, for the plumber to finish their side to bring things into the house. Like I said, we only want to have to disrupt your service once if we can do that. So, yeah. Question?
Does this appear to be kind of the same old from other neighborhoods that you've done, that we've seen?
As far as the overall project or the sanitary service?
Any surprises with this project?
No, honestly, the biggest thing is the Orangeburg. We don't have that everywhere in the city. It's kind of your neighborhood, unfortunately. There's other pockets too. But no, other than that, we have a lot of cast iron main with galvanized services. You're fortunate in that you're in mostly sandy soil. Some sites are a lot of clay, so that's a good thing for this project.
And we typically do 1 or 2 of these projects every year. We've been doing it for the last 5 or 6 years, so.
Yes.
It's a lot of the same, like the last time we worked with Skippers was up on College Avenue
Yep.
a couple years back.
That's what I was going to say.
Same scope, same stuff, different street.
And Skippers has done work for us in the last several years, so they're familiar with how things work and how the city operates, what BPW wants for the water and that sort of thing. So, yeah, this is definitely not a new project for anybody that's going to be out there for sure.
Does the Orangeburg run into the house as well?
More than likely, under, like you're talking like under the foundation. Yeah, well, so I think, and don't quote me on this, but a lot of times they'll bring cast iron in to your house, and that's what ties into the Orangeburg. So cast iron is what connects to the clay main. That's, for whatever reason, Orangeburg was way cheaper, so that's what they ran in between there. That's why it breaks. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And if anything else comes up, I have a card up here. It was, I don't know if it was on the postcard, but you can call Holland BPW Water Department to get a hold of us as well. You'll see myself, like I said, Doug out there. We'll be starting things off, tearing up the road on June 12th, probably on that Monday. So if you see equipment starting to come out there a little before then, that's possible too. But things will be kicking off on June 12th. Thank you very much.